a Bachelor of Sports and Exercise Science. I knew that I wanted to go into sports and exercise science because I really enjoyed the physiology side of things when I was at college, and then it was basically deciding where I went. I wanted to stay at home during my undergraduate because it's easier, and then I also met Dan Gordon, and that was a great kind of reason to come here, because just seeing him at open days and a couple of the lectures that he did beforehand, he was a really good person to kind of be involved with. The course kind of gave me an understanding of how to look at literature, how to assess previous research and things like that. So getting an understanding of how things work in the outside world in terms of research and just general reading. I know it sounds strange, but just learning how to read a piece of information, and also then being able to assess that piece of information of how useful it is. Also the technical elements of learning how to run a VO2 max test, things like learning how to take blood lactates and things like that can all be transitioned into the role I do now, but then also things like learning how to learn new information, learning how to learn new processes, all kind of puts all together what you have to do in the outside world, because you're never going to have a job that shows off everything that you've learned in your degree. It's more about learning the skills and then learning how to learn the skills. I'd say that like making a lot of friends here and also learning how to interact with colleagues in terms of who your peers are with your friends, but also when you don't necessarily get along with somebody, which you're never going to do in the real world, is learning how to then overcome that and still work together as like a good team. So it was kind of a bit of everything. So the technical side of things of running a VO2 max test, taking blood lactates, but also the coaching side of things into how to motivate somebody, how to push somebody to their absolute best, but also at the same time how to speak to somebody, how best to communicate. All with, at university it was a client-facing role, but at work it's obviously a patient-facing role. So it's all different sort of skills which have all added into the current role. So there's definitely real world opportunity. The staff are absolutely amazing in terms of your development, pushing you, but also knowing when you need help. I think that's something that I definitely found was different at college, is when you're at college you're kind of like, okay, get on with this piece of work, see how well you do, whereas at university it's about building that kind of towards your end goal together, and in a way in which that they want the best from you and they're going to get there. And they don't spoon feed you, but they're working together, and that's the biggest thing. I'm a respiratory physiologist at Addenbrooke's Hospital. My job basically entails testing patients for full lung function, so body plethysmography, gas transfer, as well as spirometry, and then from there I also do lots of other tests a bit more broader, so like skin allergy tests, as well as exhaled nitric oxide, as well as impulse oximetry, and on top of that we also do some CPETs as well, so cardiopulmonary exercise tests on a clinical population. By coming on the course, I definitely became confident and competent in running things like a VO2 max test. Although it was on a performance population rather than a clinical population, the skills themselves and the confidence that you get with taking things like blood lactate, as well as just generally being in the room in quite a nervous environment, has definitely helped. As well as this, just being competent at talking and interaction and communication with a patient, as well as with a team as well.